Mr. James from Charm City Karate. I'm going to talk to you guys today about the big bad Woof. No, not wolf, Woof. Some of you guys may not have heard the term woofing before. I first ran into it when I was just a little karate baby. Probably, I don't know, 95, maybe 96. I was reading a book by a guy named Mark Animal McYoung. Cheap shots, ambushes, something like that. I forget the rest of the title. Anyway, it's a good book. Probably have a link to it down in the description. Woofing is a pretty common term in the self-defense industry. Gets used a lot in the adrenal self-defense universe. Guys in fast defense, model mugging, they use it a lot. There's really two aspects to woofing. Woofing is all that loudmouth stuff you get from a guy. You get a before woof and an after woof. They're two really different kinds of a woof. The after woof is a guy who has backed out of a fight for some reason. Maybe you've convinced him that fighting is not in his best interest. Maybe you've given him a graceful way out of the fight. You know, maybe the two of you are about to get into it. Neither one of you really wanted to fight, which is a sign of intelligence. And you said, listen, man, I can't get into this fight. My girlfriend's going to kill me. And he went, well, you're lucky, man. You're lucky, because you know I'd have had to kill you. And you went, I know, man. There's no way I could have handled you. And he keeps yelling and screaming some stuff at you. Okay? That's like an exit woof. He's saving face by yelling and screaming and talking a bunch of trash. Alright? So he wants everybody there to know that he is not leaving because he's scared. He's not backing out because he's afraid of you. He could have taken you. He'd have killed 6 guys just like you. The only reason he's not fighting is because your old lady said that you can't fight. Alright? So that is a face-saving woof. Saving his ego, saving his place in the pack. That sort of thing. That is not a woof that you have to worry about as far as self-defense goes. In fact, if you see that woof, you have done your job. The woof you have to worry about is the one that happens during the interview. It is the build-up woof. This is a guy or a girl who is either setting you up or building themselves up to a point where they are ready to attack you. So he might come up and he goes, hey man, you took my parking spot. And you go, dude, I didn't know it was your parking spot. And he goes, no man, you took my parking spot. And you're like, dude, I didn't know it was your spot. Yeah, that's my parking spot, man! And you're like, wow, what is this guy doing? All right, so 2 things are happening here. One, you're totally freaked out about this guy getting all excited about a parking spot. And all you're thinking about is, over a parking spot? Meanwhile, he is jacking himself up and ramping himself up to a level where he is ready to fight. As soon as he hits that level, he gets his RPMs up into that red zone, he's going to hit you. You ain't ready for that. You're still thinking about, for a parking spot? Okay, that is a woof you have to worry about. He's taking you out of your game and putting himself into his. That's a bad thing. Okay, what you have to do is you have to derail this woof. This is why we teach verbal de-escalations. This is why we teach verbal boundary setting skills. If you know how to set up a good verbal boundary, you know how to do a good verbal de-escalation, you stop this guy during the woof, and all of a sudden he goes, oh, he knows what's going on. He knows how, what I'm doing. He's not used to a verbal de-escalation. He's not used to people that know how to handle that. So he's going to back off. He's going to go away. You don't know how to handle it, he's going to get the win. Okay? He's looking for somebody to pass his interview, to not know how to handle it. Sometimes you'll see police officers counter the woof by going 1 step up. All right, so they would never get caught in this whole parking spot incident, but just to keep things the same, if the guy came up and he went, "Hey man, you took my parking spot," instead of going, "Parking spot," they would go, "I didn't take it," and they'd go, "Whoa, geez." Okay, so instead of like just kind of staying in that same zone, they bounce up another level, and it derails people. So it can be an effective way to knock the wolf down if you are prepared to fight right then. If you're not prepared to fight, I wouldn't even try it, because if it doesn't work, you're going and doing the man dance. The only real way to get used to woofing is to practice it. And that means with somebody. That means role-playing. And you got to do it and do it and do it. Okay? And it's going to suck. And at first you're going to be really cheesy with it, and you're not going to be any good. But you got to keep doing it. Okay? Watch some videos like those cheesy security cam videos that you can see all over YouTube. Watch how real people start fights and get into them. See some of the stuff they say to each other and the way that they approach stuff. And then try to figure out how would you get out of it. All right? You need to have your hands up. You need to speak calmly but loudly to get out of that. You need to use what we call a bad dog voice. Okay? If your dog peed on the floor in front of you, you wouldn't freak out. You wouldn't go, "Oh my God, what's wrong with you, you stupid dog?" Same thing with a guy who's yelling at you about his parking spot or whatever it is he's freaking out about. You don't go, "I didn't take your parking spot." It doesn't work. Dog pees on the floor and you go, "Bad dog." Kind of flat, kind of emotionless. Same thing here. You just got to tell it, "I didn't take your parking spot." Okay? You're going to have to get loud probably, but you still want to stay flat and emotionless. Think about it like taking out the trash. You don't like it, but you got to do it. Okay? Same thing with this guy. You don't like telling him to go away, but you got to do it. You don't get excited. You don't get happy. You don't get mad. You just do it. All right? But the thing about the woof is, a lot of times, it will take you to an emotional place. They're not going to say nice things to you. They're not going to stay away from calling you names that will hurt you and degrade you and strike you on a racial or sexual or personal level. They're going to go for that stuff. They're going to go for the really obvious, really hurtful things, because that's what they want to do. They're looking to trigger a reaction from you. They want to get that response. So when you guys practice it with each other, that's what you got to practice. Okay, you got to say that bad stuff, and you got to get used to it. And you got to get used to taking it and dealing with it. All right, so practice the woofing with a partner, but practice it with somebody you know you're not going to like freak out at. Okay. If you can't stand when people talk about your red hair, your buddy needs to talk about your red hair. And then you need to know that he's talking about your red hair because it's part of the practice, not because he thinks your red hair looks stupid. Okay? You got to practice it. Here's the other thing. Woofing will take you out of your self-defense game like that. If you don't believe me, next time you're in class, practice something simple like, I don't know, Kempo does a lot of self-defense techniques, so a lot of prearranged drill sequences. So we would take something simple, all right, like two-hand push defense, okay? And I've done this a bunch of times. I'll bring somebody up that knows this. I'll say, "Look, I'm going to push you. I want you to do the defense." So I'll push them, they'll do the defense. I'll say, "Oh, that was good. Do it again." And I'll get them to do it 2 or 3 times so that everybody knows that they can do it. I'll say, "That was really good." And then I'll look at them. I'll say, "Okay, I want you to do it one more time." And then I'll say something to them right before I do it, okay? It doesn't matter what it is. You can go, birthday, and shove them. And they'll go, what? And they'll go reeling backwards. Okay, now I said birthday. Come on. I didn't even say anything mean. Why? Because they're not used to somebody saying something loud to them right before it happens. All right? You can even like look at them and say, lemonade! It's not even an aggressive tone of voice. It still disrupts them. They're not used to practicing like that. Okay? You start practicing doing that sort of thing and you realize, well, I'm not used to somebody talking to me before they attack me. Oh, well, what do you think is going to happen in a real fight? You think the guy's going to go like this and go, let us begin? He's not. No, he's going to call you names. He's going to put his finger in your chest. He's going to say nasty things to you. And then when you're going, what is this guy's problem? He's going to punch you. So you need to start practicing that sort of thing. You call each other's names. You get all ramped up. Then the fight starts. If you practice, you will get used to dealing with that sort of thing. And you will get used to being able to keep a level of excitement that isn't all crazy, an even keel, if you will. You'll be able to ride the adrenaline and your emotions without getting crazed. But you got to practice. You can't just go, oh, I know that will happen now. I'll put that back here in my brain so that when it happens, I know what to do. It's not like that. You can't read a book about a back knuckle and then go, oh, I know how to do a back knuckle now. It ain't like that. You got to practice. This is the same way. And believe me, a wolf will take you out of your game quicker than anything else. You got to practice. Practice against the wolf. Bad guys use it all the time. That's why you see black belts get taken out by street fighters. Because they MF them, they put their finger in their chest a few times, and then when the black belt's going, what? They get clocked by the street fighter. All right. Thus endeth the sermon on the big bad wolf. Practice, be ready. Don't get fooled like the three little piggies. I'm Mr. James from Charm City Karate. I'll see you in class.